Happy to be joined in the booth by Mr. Alan Simpson of the Perfect Game, and thank you very much for joining us here.
My pleasure, Nick.
You've made a long trip here to Cardines Field to present the National Championship Trophy here to the Newport Gulls after what was an incredible 2012 season.
Well, all the pieces fell in just about as good as they could possibly fall last year when you consider one of the best regular seasons in club history, and then a march through the playoffs, and not just a march. Boy, they totally dominated their competition last year with all the records that were set in the regular season and the playoffs, and it was really a magical season last year.
Timmy Robertson, Trace Simpson, and Ethan Ferrer are the scheduled three for the Gulls here in the second. The first pitch is swung on and popped up into shallow right field. In comes Chris Shaw. Out goes the second baseman, and there is Andrew Dundon to make the catch. Robinson got under that one and is quickly one away here in the second. Now, Mr. Simpson, you've been with Perfect Game for a number of years now, but prior to that, you were with Baseball America and the founder of that publication.
Yeah, I go back a little ways with coverage of the game at, really I'm saying levels below the major leagues, and whether it's minor league baseball or summer league baseball or various things like that. But yes, I did. I started Baseball America back in 1981, so it's I hate to date myself, but that's 32 years ago. But it really is pretty incredible, the growth of the game in some of these areas that really did not get much coverage back in 1981.
First pitch is a called strike to Trace Simpson. Next one is ball one. The count 1-1 on Simpson, who hit 284 for Washington State this spring, a homer, 17 RBI. Remy Jenko looks in, gets a sign from his catcher Travers. The lefty fires, is taken high and inside, the count 1-1.
We really came out on the ground floor of minor league baseball's tremendous revival, which is still going 30 years later. The draft got nowhere near the attention it's getting tonight.
1-1 pitch is looped in the shallow right field. That's going to drop down for a base hit. Cut off by Shore. One out single for Simpson, his first hit of the season. Mr. Simpson, when you look back at the NECBL, how it's grown over the years and started to compete more and more with some of the other premier summer leagues in the country, like the Northwoods League, and certainly the Cape Cod Baseball League. Now, where would you say the NECBL ranks now? Would it be second right behind the Cape League, or third, or right in the top five?
It's a tough call because they don't play each other, so that's the apples oranges thing that we have to work through on this one. But I think we have a pretty good gauge on the talent at each league.
First pitch is taking a low ball one to Ethan Ferreira, the Gulls' new backstop, hitting .259, no homers, 6 RBI for the Harvard Crimson in 18 games this spring.
I don't think there's any question that the Cape is number one and has been for the better part of 25 or 30 years.
Pitch is taking low, ball two. Now, what sort of criteria and statistics and evaluation process was used to determine the national rankings at the end of last year?
Well, we'll take and give the foremost consideration to teams in the strongest leagues. Then we break down the records of the teams, the domination of the teams within their leagues, winning a championship.
As the 2-1 pitch is fouled to the backstop.
And we'll just we also look at the talent, the actual talent that is on these teams. We have a pretty good read on a lot of the top college prospects in the country, and it's kind of a factor of all those considerations. But you really have to win in the end to be a consideration.
2-1 pitch is taken high, ball three. A hitter's count for Ferreira. Bats from the right side here. In inning number 2, the Gulls threatening a runner at first, no score, and just one out. From the stretch, the pitch, swing and a miss. Big cut that time by Ferreira. Chased the ball that dove low and away on the count full, 3-2.
Back to your question, Nick, in terms of the strength of the leagues. Again, the Cape is the top one, and the NECBL comes into the mix at that point. I think the Northwoods is probably number 2 at this point. There's kind of a toss-up between the Coastal Plain League and the NECBL in that next group. 3-2
pitch is chopped foul at the first base line. We've seen sort of an explosion in new summer leagues over the last few years, including the Perfect Game Collegiate League.
Well, yeah, we've gotten involved in, we've seen the explosion in summer baseball, because you go back 25 years ago, there may have been 6 or 7 leagues at the time that were kind of nationally recognized leagues, and now we're upwards of 32 to 35, so it's been a tremendous growth in summer college baseball.
3-2 pitch, the runner goes, is taken low, ball 4, and they'll put runners on at first and second.
As you look back 25 years ago, the NECBL did not exist. The Cape really until about the mid 80s was more of a regional league. So that's the league has just totally taken off in the last 25.
I have a quick mountain conference here as J.R. Dwyer, the pitching coach, out for a word with his starter. Mr. Simpson, because you've been around the country, you've seen a lot of ballparks. Is this your first visit here to Cardines Field?
No, actually, Nick, it's not. I was here. I was up in the Cape a couple of years ago, and I had an off night for whatever reason. So I was told by any number of people, well, if you got an off night, you got to go down to Newport and watch the Gulls play. And I was completely blown away by what I saw in terms of. Just the field. I'd never seen Cardines Field before. I had the
it's certainly unique.
Great pleasure watching the Irish guys in full form that night, and it was a full house, and it was just one of the best baseball experiences. It might have been the best baseball experience I had in 2011.
Matt Foley, the designated hitter, steps up from the right side. Foley, a temporary player assigned to the team, temporary contract. He was a powerhouse at Rhode Island College in Division III this spring. Hit .331 as a freshman, led the team in homers with 7. Drove in 29. Swings and misses to the first pitch for strike 1.
Nick, I've actually been following along with the MLB draft on Twitter, and Mark Appel, a former Gull, just taken with the first overall pick.
Oh, he did go number 1. Well, he should have.
One.
That's the thing is he should have. I was afraid the Astros were going to go another direction like they did last year, but good. Well, that's it. He's
he
a
was
former
rumored
Gull.
last year to go number 1, and went a little later than that. The pitch is taken low, ball 1. Decided to instead finish his senior year at Stanford and wait again.
Well, the way the draft has really changed over the last couple of years, and the way it's slotted now. Unless Appel was going to be taken in the first 3 picks where the money is, he was not going to be signed. And I think that was a recognition that he slid as far as he did last year.
2 on here, 1 out, 1-1 pitch to Matt Foley is low, ball 2.
That's a pretty good decision, really, on his part, because once he slid to Pittsburgh, they were only in a position where they could have paid him only about $3.8 million, whereas now the slot for the Astros and the number 1 pick is about $7.9 million. Whether or not he gets that full amount is hard to say, but he's certainly going to get an awful lot more than 3.8.
Pitch is fouled down the right field line, hooking just in front of the stands. It caroms off one of the support poles for the fences to protect the fans here at Cardines, and it's one of the very unique features of this ballpark. Very little foul territory here. Probably one of the smallest amounts of foul territory in all of baseball.
Well, I can assure you, it's the only park I've ever been to that doesn't have a third base dugout.
Hockey style, side-by-side dugouts here.
That adds mightily to the charm of the place.
2-2 pitch, chopped foul right in front of the plate. Travers made a run at it, but it was fouled off the foot of Matt Foley. Again, as a freshman, had a very good season at Rick. 7 homers, 29 RBI, 14 doubles, 3 triples. .379 on base percentage for the anchorman. Joey Oriole, the number 9 man, waits on deck with 2 on and 1 out here in the second. Gulls threatening in a scoreless game. Here on opening night, 2013, we're joined in the booth by Alan Simpson from Perfect Game USA. PG Crush checker. The pitch, chopped foul, third base side. Now, what is your role with Perfect Game? Do you exclusively cover?
Oh no, I cover Perfect Game. To start with is primarily a baseball event company geared towards showcases and tournaments for high school players. My job really is to fill in around in any number of different ways, whether it's coverage of the draft or summer baseball or college baseball or.
2-2 pitches, swung on and drilled to left center field pretty deep. Going back to left field, it's going to be over his head, bounce to the wall. Hitting third is Tamsing. He'll come around to score. Ethan Ferreira being sent in behind him. The throw to the plate is not in time, and the Newport Gulls jump out to a 2-0 lead. It's a 2-run double from Matt Foley, who lined a 2-2 pitch in the gap and left.
He certainly turned on that one, getting all of it and driving it into the gap in left center field. Venditti reached up maybe to try and deke the runners, but he wasn't anywhere near it, and he didn't have a chance at that ball. You can't hit it much harder than that.
Certainly the hardest hit ball we've seen of the night. 3 straight have reached here against Janko. 2 have scored, and the Gulls jump out to a 2-0 lead. There's Joey Orio, who 2012 hit 187, 2 homers, and 13 RBI. That from the right side. Iorio out of Barry University. Waits the pitch from the southpaw. It's taken high and inside, ball 1. Did play in the NYCBL for Utica last summer. 35 games, hit 196. Mario, a late signee to the Newport Gulls roster. The pitch, swinging a foul tip off the catcher's gear. Another unique feature here, of course, very little foul territory behind the plate, so sometimes when there's a runner at third and there's a wild pitch.
Oh yeah, no question. In fact, I've seen it happen before. That you quite often get that good bounce back, and just the runner, if a runner isn't aware of what lies in front of him, he's a dead duck and then some.
The count 1-1. A look in from Janko. The pitch, fastball in there for a strike. The count 1-2.
Going back to Mark Appel, he joins an exclusive club. I believe the only other NECBL alum to be first pick overall was Steven Strasburg.
Certainly a sign of how the NECBL has grown, recruited higher quality prospects over the last few years. The pitch taken high, and the count 2-2.
What I think you typically see with the NECBL in a lot of ways, and I don't know that they like to be characterized this way, it's really kind of a stepping stone league to the Cape. You'll quite often see some of those prominent freshmen come here after their freshman season, then move on to the Cape for their second season. So Appel was obviously here after his first year, and
2-2 pitch, a little flare off the end of the bat. It's going to fall right into the glove of the second baseman Dundon. Scurrying back to the bag at second is Foley, and that's the inning's second out.
I think that's where he came of prominence was his summer up here, and certainly the same goes for Strasburg. He pitched in Torrington when it was in the league, and he was really pretty much an unknown. He opened an awful lot of eyes that summer that he was up here.
Yeah, I remember Steven Strasburg going up against the heart of the Newport Gulls order in the game versus Torrington in the postseason and mowing them down 1-2-3 strikeouts. And these are guys that were hitting 350.
Oh, absolutely. And I think where his real claim to fame.
Pitch is a ground ball chopper, hard hit down the first base line, fielded by Lopez, and he'll take it to the back at first for the out that retires the side and eliminates Cody Jones. We're still going to be joined here for a few moments by Alan Simpson.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Strasburg's real claim to fame was when the NECBL All-Stars took on Team USA, and he mowed down the heart of the Team USA lineup in a way that he was the talk of Team USA that summer just because of the brief outing that they'd seen against him. He was so dominant.
Well, Alan Simpson from Perfect Game, thank you very much for making the trip up here to Cardines Field to give the Gulls the National Championship Trophy for 2012, and thank you for joining us here in the booth.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Nick.
Pleasure having you.